the Art of the Failed Wonderkid. One moment you see them being touted as the next Messi or the savior for your club, and the next thing you know, they're playing in a random Turkish League game on a random Wednesday night with a crowd that makes it seem like we're still in 2020. It's actually crazy how quickly this happens. All it takes is one bad injury, some attitude problems, one bad transfer, and boom, now you're just a TikTok edit with a sad song playing in the background. Today we'll be going over some more recent instances of this happening. First up is João Félix, and from the moment that this guy touched a ball at Benfica, the media got straight to work and started glazing him like there was no tomorrow. He was getting comparisons to the likes of Ricardo Kaká and getting Ballon d'Or shouts at 19 years old. And I'm not gonna lie, the hype kind of did make sense. The talent was definitely there, the flair was definitely there, and he was balling in Portugal like it was some kick at the park. So what happens? Atletico Madrid see this guy play a couple times, and bang, they buy him for 126 million. The second most expensive teenager in history, behind only Mbappe. And looking back, this might have been the dumbest transfer I've ever seen. Now you might be asking why that is. And if you haven't figured it out, it's because of one man and one man only. Diego Simeone. They threw João Félix right into Simeone's tactical gulag. How can you sign a player like João Félix, who, let's be honest, he's a luxury player. He's a player who loves to be on the ball, a free-spirited player. He likes to create chances for his teammates. He was basically a walking Twitter compilation, and Atletico once again spent 126 million just for him to be locked up in Simeone's system, a system that treats free-flowing attack like it's a criminal offense. This wasn't a bad transfer on Felix's part, it was basically just a setup. Simeone wanted soldiers, and João Félix just was not that player for him. So what happened? João Félix continues his mediocrity until 2023, when Atletico had finally had enough and Chelsea swooped in January to sign him on a loan. And this was a new start for Félix, and maybe he could finally revamp his career into what it was supposed to be. And I swear, for those first 56 minutes against Fulham, this guy had Chelsea fans absolutely dreaming. They thought they had signed prime Kaká. He was absolutely cooking Fulham. Joga bonito, step overs, the link up, and then boom, in the 56th minute he crashes out, gets a red card, and can't play for the next 3 games. He comes back from suspension 3 games later, and it was never the same for the rest of the season. He had a few nice touches, a couple goals, but nothing had justified the hype. After this loan ended, he went back to Atletico, went on a couple more loans, signed back with Chelsea, went to Milan on loan this season, and now he has no idea where his career is headed. The case for João Félix was sad. He had literal world-class potential, but at this point, he's 26 years old and he's basically just a luxury item collecting dust. Next up, we have Anthony Martial, and he was basically the blueprint for a wonder kid in 2015. He had absolutely everything. He had the pace, the dribbling, the composure, the cold-blooded finishing. He absolutely burst onto the scene at Monaco when everyone thought he was going to be the next big thing. He had the big clubs circling around him like vultures. Then finally, in the summer of 2015, Manchester United pulled the trigger. 50 million. Yes, 50 million for Anthony Martial, which at the time made him the most expensive teenager of all time. And from the moment he touched the ball at Old Trafford, everyone started hyping him up. And it was for good reason. Because on his debut against Liverpool, he picks up the ball on the left wing, drives at the defenders, dances past them, and slots it into the bottom right-hand corner. Manchester United fans were excited to say the very least. They genuinely thought they had the next Thierry Henry in their hands. Oh, and by the way, he had a Ballon d'Or clause in his contract. But as time went on, we all know what happened. The hype eventually began to die down, and for the next 4 or 5 years, absolutely nothing from him. Every single preseason, it was the same broken record. Oh, Martial looks sharp. Oh, Martial is ready to explode. And every single time, he did absolutely nothing. There was zero consistency, zero intensity. He was just there for vibes and missed chances. Then came the 2019-20 lockdown season. There was empty stadiums, there was weird energy, and football was just weird in general. And this was the season that Anthony Martial finally delivered. 17 goals and 17 assists in the Premier League. People had thought the real Martial had finally arrived, but as we know now, this was far from the truth. After this season, Martial unfortunately had to deal with injuries and inconsistent managers, which led him never really to find his form back again. He basically vanished from football, popping up a couple games every year and scoring a couple goals every year, but nothing more than that. And now, he's 28 years old, he's in the Greek League, and let's be honest, his career is basically finished. He's just collecting his paychecks and eating kebab and living his life, which is good for him. But it's sad for us, the fans, who really thought this kid was going to be the next Thierry Henry. And honestly, he has no one to blame but himself. He literally had the world at his feet, and he fumbled it harder than England in a penalty shootout. The last wonder kid we're going to be going over today is Dele Alli, and honestly, this one hurts. He was supposed to be a superstar. England's best, a Ballon d'Or winner, and he played the game in such a way that was so different from everyone else. He was really creating his own lane. He was very versatile, and he could basically play any position and do anything you wanted on the pitch. Anywhere across the front line, anywhere in the mid, he could create chances, he could score goals, he could go on the wing and create you a chance, he could create you a chance from the middle, he could defend when he was asked to, he could show up in big moments. I mean, there was nothing this guy didn't have. And under Mauricio Pochettino at Spurs, he showed this to the highest extent. In 2016-17, he was tearing up the Premier League with 18 goals and 9 assists. And it wasn't only this, he was doing it on the biggest stage in the Champions League. At just 20 years old, he was dunking on Champions League midfields, including that of Real Madrid, with Kroos, Casemiro, and Modric, and Dele outperformed all of them. And he was doing with such a flair, that street ball flair, the edge, the confidence, and it made you believe that this guy was built for the bright lights. It made you believe that he was going to win the Ballon d'Or one day. You thought this guy was going to be England's future captain, their future best ever player, and he would be the one that would lead them to an international trophy. He was that guy. But what happened? He just stopped. He got his big contract and just stopped being Dele Alli. It wasn't even injuries or anything like that. It wasn't like a dramatic decline. He just stopped trying. It was like he woke up one day, he saw he was famous, and he said, yeah, that's enough. Everything about his game was gone. The goals were dried up, the assists were dried up, the fire was gone. And by the time Mourinho came, Dele was more active on Instagram than he was on the pitch. He got sent off to Everton, and he somehow got even worse. Then off to Besiktas, where he was getting cooked by the Turkish journalists, and he got benched in a league where there was 40-year-olds that still ball out. And when that didn't work, he absolutely just disappeared. And in 2023, he finally came out and did an interview. He opened up about his mental health struggles. And honestly, that takes serious guts, so all the respect to him for that. Off the pitch, it's so clear that he went through something deeper. But on the pitch, the decline was still insane. He went from being the next big English superstar, the next Lampard, the next Beckham, the next Gerrard, to a player that we talk about today like a myth. Someone that was supposed to be great. He's 29 years old now, and he's still trying to get into the England squad for the 2026 World Cup. But we all want to see it, but I just don't know how feasible that's going to be. And this case of Dele Alli might have been one of the most sad cases of the failed wonder kid that we've ever seen.